Welcome to this episode of the Making of Champions Season 4. Today, I have a special guest who's done it on a collegiate level as an athlete, gone on to the pros, doing great things, and then now came back home to his alma mater, Howard University's own Mr. David Oliver. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ty. It's good to see you, man.
Same here, man. You've been doing a lot of great things individually from where your success from college and then going on to doing great things on the world stage, Olympics, world championships. And then you had this, after going through all of those major successes, personal goals and successes, you came back to your alma mater at Howard University to build a championship program and build it up to the levels that you saw them and what you wanted to take them. So how was that process of getting back into or coming back to home to your alma mater? And what was it? What are you looking forward to still at Howard University?
Well, yeah, it's always great to be back, kind of at home. I talk to a lot of people that being here, directing the program is more than just a job and staying in the sport of track and field and things like that. This is definitely a passion project. Something for me, in order to be involved in things, I have to be very, very invested and, have a lot of want to behind it. So, when I got the opportunity to come back to Washington, D.C. and help rebuild our program, it was like a no-brainer. So definitely a big shout out to our athletic director, Kerry Davis, and our president, Dr. Frederick, for, extending that opportunity to me. Been here a handful of years and, went from a program that was, relatively mediocre in our conference to, the women's team being able to win the championship trophy, indoor and outdoor. The first time we've done that since the late 80s. And guys having runners up finish, which was our best since that same time. So, I love the idea of your show of building champions and things like that. But, at Howard, we are definitely champions and always have been when we come to off the field of play, when it comes to the classroom, things like that. But now been able to, build champions on the field of play and make it kind of a holistic thing is great to be a part of that.
Man, yeah, you've done, like you said, in the 80s, that's under Coach Mutri. I said, I know a little bit about that history there. He did a lot of great things, and now you've come back and make track and field relevant at Howard University. What were kind of the things that you wanted to really kind of establish coming into the program?
I think the number one thing to establish is just expectations that we expect to be great no matter what it is we do. I talk to them often about, greatness if you don't turn it on and off like a light switch. It's on from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, whether you're in the classroom or training and things like that. And I think it was, kind of a disconnect there. We want to be great as we possibly can when it came to the classroom. But when we wanted to go out here to the track, we thought it was a recreational activity. So, I tell them all the time, this is Division I athletics. This is not a recreational activity. If you want to be involved in recreational activities, there's intramurals and all kind of things that are available at the university for you to participate in. But this is a Division I track and field. The only level that's higher than this is the pros. So, having instilling that sort of mentality and that attitude into the track and field athletes that I, have the privilege to be able to guide is the most important thing. The most important thing, like my coach, Brooks Johnson, always say the most important thing you got to dominate is the distance between your left and right ear. So, when you're able to do that, I feel like you're unstoppable, and it doesn't matter what program or school you go to. In the sport of track and field, the front of the name on the front of the jersey really doesn't matter. We participate in a national schedule when it comes to competitions. And so we go to the same meets that the big time schools go to. That's something that individual sports, we do have that luxury that some of our team sports don't. So yeah, you got to have high expectations. And that's the number one thing to instill into, these young kids. They are impressionable. So it's like, I want to make sure that I leave that impression on you that you can do whatever it is that you set your mind to doing.
Well, I'm privy to know the history of Howard University and how prestigious it is. You're the Ivy League of the HBCU network, but it takes a lot, and most people don't realize that even through recruiting, you can't just go ahead and get the 2.5 person come into Howard University, So I know the expectations of the university itself are high up there. And they don't give any leniency to athletics. So how are you able to make sure you decipher those things when you're going recruiting to get that exceptional person this can do it on the classroom, of course, but to make sure that they also have the athletic ability to add to your program?
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult, but I went to the university, so I understand what the expectations are on that side of things. So I mean, you just need to check out the transcripts. I need that before I even know how fast you can run. Let me see the transcripts, and if that's on point, then we can continue the conversation. But yeah, just making sure you get the people that can get it done. Last thing that we want to be here is a program that's struggling on a GPA standpoint or APR standpoint, things like that. So I mean, you got to be able to coach them. We're not going to have kids that are going to be walking in here, kind of as your 5-star athlete. So I just try to find a kid that does one thing well, like, if you're a hurdler and it's about 4 things that you must be able to do, if you can just check the box on like 1 or 2 of those things, then it's like, okay, cool, I can work with the rest, no matter what your times are. But at the end of the day, we are trying to get to the national championship level as well. It was great last year being able to score points at the NCAA level for the first time since I think I was in school. So yeah, we still want those athletes that would develop into that, but we are a developmental program, and but you got to be able to stay in school. It's like, yeah, getting into school is one thing, but being able to stay in is the difficult part. And we don't have easy majors or general education sort of thing. So they're putting these kids into their major classes nearly from first semester of their freshman year. So with our progress towards degree, we have to deal with, you change a major or something like that, you fall behind, and next thing you know, you could have great grades but be ineligible. So we gotta find kids that kind of really know what it is that they want to be involved with from a education standpoint. And it just really comes from the conversations. But I think that's also why you see at Howard, our women's programs are doing really well athletically. The women are kind of much more advanced than we are as men. They're way more mature. So that's why you look around our volleyball team, basketball team, softball teams, us in track and field, winning championships. And But yeah, so it's a balance, but it's kind of difficult, especially when you're talking about on the young men finding those guys that can kind of fit the academic and athletic profiles that we're looking for.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna hit this because you said the program came to a mediocre time before you coming in. So coming in, knowing that you see at the time the A&Ts, Bethune-Cookmans, the Norfolk States, and Hampton universities at the time of the conference of MEAC. You know, I watched you when I was there watching
Yeah.
you. You know, and you're just taking things and you're looking at everything. So what was your plan, or how did you come up with your plan from the first instance of being at the conference championship once again, your first year?
Yeah, going to the conference championship the very first year in 2018, and you know, we got last place and scored 1 point. You know, I was just sitting there like, wow, wow, we have a big hill to climb. You know, it's just, I mean, you didn't see the conference schools that much, you know, during the regular season, but you know, they're, you know, running fast. You're like, oh, you know, my kids, they can, you know, probably, you know, do something, but just sitting there, it's like, wow. Then I remember at the end of that meet, just sitting there, and Dwayne was just like, hey man, don't worry about it. It'll get better, man. You'll be all right. And I was like, wow, you know, so just really taking stock and really trying to figure out, you know, what it is that, and identifying what we can do well as a program, and just kind of trying to attack those things because, you know, it was great. I didn't have coaching experience before I came, you know, to Howard to do this job. So to me, it was like the X's and O's part. You know, okay, cool. You can learn that. You can figure that out. You know, because it really just matters on where you're at. Like I can't do, you know, certain things that maybe all other schools can do. You know, we have like about 90 minutes a day that we can dedicate towards to practice because of the class schedules and things like that. And, you know, so it's all these small things that are like, you have to have that are nuanced in each program that we all deal with. So I was like, I just got to start. I got to get on the mentality, you know, because it just doesn't matter what you do from an X's and O's standpoint if the mentality isn't there. So, you know, just going into the recruiting process and identifying kind of student athletes that had the same mentality or close to the same mentality that I have, was the key. You know, the first recruiting class, we got there kind of late. So we didn't have much going on in the early period when we first got there. So really that next class, kind of trying to find those kids that could fit the mentality. And that was just, I was like, I don't care what event they do. You know, I talk to kids and figure out whoever has the mindset for really actually wanted to do this on this level. Those are the kids that, you know, we're going to go after. And, you know, we can just probably fill in the talent from there, because you know how it is. You're just trying to build. You're not coming out the gates as a bottom level program going out here and recruiting, you know, top tier kids. They're like, why do I want to go there to run track? And you guys are not doing very well at all. So, I mean, you might get lucky on a couple, but it's really about building the kids that you have in your program. And I think that we did a really good job of that. You know, like I said, last year we were able to score points at the national championship meet with, you know, 3 of the young ladies on that team. They were, their first year running was my first year coaching. 2 of them never ran track really that competitively until they came to Howard. So, you know, we were able to grow together, and, you know, they were able to have success before they graduated this past May. And so, yeah, it's just like, just work on those ones, work on their mind, because they showed they had a little bit of talent, even though they were walk-on student athletes when we first got there. And just, yeah, I can't say it enough. Work on the mind. That's the most important thing to do. It's like that psychosomatic relationship. It matters so much.
Okay.
And so that's just really the key that I found anyway. And that just led to, you know, getting better kids, because I mean, I say it all the time. It doesn't matter how hard you try. the fastest donkey will never beat the slowest thoroughbred. It just doesn't matter. So you got to have talent. But you get the talent with that wants to come in and put in the work, then they'll be able to be out there and be All-American.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Knowing that you had to go through, you were kind of going into where I was thinking and kept you going. So I was like, man, keep on saying what you're saying. I think a lot of people need to hear that it's not, you can't go for instant success. It comes down to building and then finding those right people or bodies to come in to help you build that program. And again, you got to go through figure out how it's going to happen, the event areas that you want to concentrate in. And you did a great job of that. I watch you keep moving up that ladder. And I was like, okay. And that I think some of the stuff comes down to your staff. How did you come up with bringing the staff in? And you had a couple of moving parts there, but yet you solidified things through the recruiting process. So how was your staff instrumentous in you being successful?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was the most important thing when when they kind of approached me and I was like, yeah, this is what I coming back to Howard and kind of running the program is what I'll take on that challenge. So building the staff, we had 2 full-time coaches other than myself. So it was like, I'm going to get people that are familiar with Howard University and have been here before. So they kind of know ins and outs of, what we can and can't do. And, they know what the requirements are when it comes to getting kids here. And they have an extensive knowledge of just college athletics. So, one of my best friends, Andrew Murphy, who's now the head coach at Alabama A&M, first call as soon as, I called him as soon as they called me. It was like, hey, man, they want me to come in, kind of take over the track program at Howard. You got to come and do it with me. You know what I'm saying? He was in Georgia at the time. And I was like, man, you got to come back and, kind of do it as well. But, he had been coaching at a high level since we left college. We graduated in 2004 from Howard together. So I think having Howard people in the program, kind of molding it and running the show is very, very important because you have to care. It can't just be, oh yeah, I'm gonna just go here, I'm gonna punch the clock and head on out you, because you got to put in this long, hard hours, trying to get something rolling. And like I said, you got to do it for more than just that. You have to do it for a purpose. It's got to be purpose driven. And, so he was there to take up the distance and all of everything that came with, the NCAA stuff and, all that stuff. I had no idea of what was going on. Heck, I remember the first time we were having like a recruit or two on come up to campus, and I was like telling the parents, oh yeah, we could fly you up and whatever. He's like, oh no, we can't do that. That's only in football. And I was like, oh, okay, well let me let me step back from me out here on some sort of violations or whatever. So I'm gonna just stay in my lane and identify talent, coach them up, and then when it comes to all the finite details, you guys need to take care of that clearly. But then Jessica Cousins, our associate head coach, she's still here, but she was with the program. I think she came in 2012 and coached for a few years before, heading down to Florida to coach down there. And so I was like, called like, what would it take for you to come back? And she was, she came back, and just having people that, like I said, really are invested in the program and wanting to see us do well, not just people that, it's hellified coaches that can do all kinds of things that, can coach anybody to do all these great performances. But I feel like trying to build a program here is not really about that. It's about laying the foundation and making sure the infrastructure is built first, and then making sure you can, go out there and start achieving those goals. I'm a process kind of guy. At no stage in my career, whether it's collegiate or the pros or whatever, was, I'm a top level recruit out of high school or having all these offers or doing things like that. But I just grinded and made it work, going to the elite level. I didn't come out of college, winning national titles and, having big, contracts from these shoe companies or other sponsors coming out. I had to grind and work hard for a couple of years, working, 8-hour shifts in training and everything else, grinding before I got there for a few years, before I made the national team and started opening up more doors. So it's just all about the process. And so I needed more people that was about the process and trying to get that done as well. Because I mean, I like work. I work. I go when I go in, I go all in on stuff. And so, and that's what we needed. So we're having 12, 13-hour days. We're up there at first trying to figure out what's going on and, the ins and outs. But yeah, the staff is, the most integral part of what you're trying to build. Like I said, building the infrastructure and having the foundation. Now you look up, now we've been able to, do some winning, do some good things. Now we have 5 coaches, in the program, which is a stark contrast to when my coach was running the program, Michael Merritt. He was a full-time coach, and then we had like a part-time coach, and that was pretty much how the track program was run from the 80s all the way through 2012, 15, whenever. So had to get an infrastructure and make sure that we were run as a true on Division I program. And I think those are the things that matter a lot more, because I'm not going to be able to sit here and do this job for forever. Mm-hmm. But whenever I do leave, it's like the infrastructure has to be in place to make sure that the next people that come in are able to make sure the program stays at a high functioning level.
Okay. Well, see, you mentioned that you didn't have the experience coming in of coaching experience, but yet, some people go out there and say, well, you got to have the coaching experience to be successful, but yet it's being able to put people around you to help lift you up, and as you're getting the education, but you have a prowess and you have a demeanor to get things done. You know what it takes. And again, you said mindset, establishing the mindset first. And look at what you've done in these years is moved it up from the bottom of the conference to the top of the conference, and in a short amount of time. What some people may think is, well, it took them a little while. No, you moved it fairly quickly to ascend to where you are of becoming a champion within the conference, and then your aspirations of and reality of having scored at the national championships. Now I'm sure there's more conference championships that you want to take, but now I know you want to move up more in that national rankings. So what does that look like, and how does Howard University help you establish that there?
Yeah, well, the university, they do a great job supporting us. I think that's the most important thing as coaches that we need is the support from the university and administration, and we get that. Our athletic director is very supportive of the program. We don't get pushed back with things that we want to do, and just getting the results. When you're providing the results, you've earned that kind of a leeway to kind of push a little bit more of what you want to happen, because we get access to better recruits now because the team is doing better. But in order to be seen, you've got to go and go to Florida, go to Texas, go to all these places and be seen. And he's just like, hey, yeah, do that. He likes that, having that the programs be out there on the national level. And that's what he lives for. So we're taking care of business on that end. So they support us greatly. So yeah, I don't think that we kind of don't want for anything much in the program. We are in Washington D.C., so it's not like we've got the palm trees and sunshine 365 days out the year. So that's one thing I would want, but unfortunately, we can't uproot the university and move us out there, close to you guys and stuff. But the things that we can't control, we pretty much get everything we can that we can control. They support us. So I think that's what it took us 4 championships. 2018 finishing bottom of the barrel, the 2019 kind of creeping up some, unfortunately with COVID in 2020, but even coming off of COVID in 2021, we, finished 3rd in the conference, and then 2022 was able to win. So it's, it feels like it's been a long time, already, but it's like, wow, it really hasn't been that long. But, we would like to be a program that's, winning conference championships and things like that. You have experience with that, in the MEAC with Cookman and a lot of the winning and the great program that you guys had down there. And that's just why I like that. I love winning. I never want to sign my name next to sorry stuff, or losing. That's just not something that I really want to be a part of. And that was what drove me more, like you say, with not having the experience, but just sitting there and watching, our kids just not look that good. The first year we were out there in the championships, that 2018 season, indoor and outdoor, it's just like, I got to go harder on figuring out, how to coach these kids better. I believe in, extreme ownership and anything that happens within the program, good, bad, or indifferent, is going to be, on my shoulder. So I got to make sure that we're on point, whatever that means. That's, if I got to be the equipment manager, I'm going to be the equipment manager. I got to be whatever it takes for us to get where we need to, and for the student athletes to get whatever it is they need and to feel great about themselves. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, and make sure that they have that in I think that works wonders, because when they see you, going hard and every day they come to practice and it's fully set up every time. It's everything's ready. It's laid out for them every single day. Mm-hmm. That all they got to do is show up, do what they're asked to do for that 90 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the day. And then, the other 22 hours, take care of the class stuff and don't do anything, that brings the program in negative light. It's all you got to do. They don't have to worry about coming to the bus and the coaches aren't there, or, whatever, any sort of nonsense or whatever. They don't worry about that, because we're on point. The coaches are on point, so they stay on point. And so we hold ourselves to that high standard as well.
Okay. Well, I remember seeing y'all at Texas Relays this past year, and just watching the excitement especially when the 4x4 came through, watching them and how they interacted, and then how the staff interacted with them. You can see there's something special there with what you have done there, and with your coaches have done there. Watching the joy, and that's one thing. Sometimes you can go through some stuff and don't see the joy, but I see the joy within them, and I saw the joy within you and your staff. That's special. That was special.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, for them to win that Texas Relays 4x4, and getting the trophy and being seen and being all over the internet, and it was great for them. But they knew where we came from. Like I said, they started when we started, so they know the days of going to the conference meeting. We got one person making a final out of every event or something like that. So they saw it from the beginning. But the key now is that we've got new people in the program that now they don't know anything about, when we had that old red track that's was hard as a brick or whatever, that I was even running on when we first got there. Now we got, this brand new state of the art track, and, all this stuff. They see you go to the office and there's a whole bunch of trophies and, all these sort of things. They see that. But they don't know the struggle it was at the beginning. So it's important for us as the staff and myself specifically to make sure that they understand that this is not your birthright. Coming here you got to earn this. Like, yes, they won, but you didn't do that. Yes, you were part of a program that did win, but that was last year. This is 2022, 2023. So, you have to earn that too. Nobody's going to give it to you. And it's much different being somebody that's hunted as opposed to being the hunter. And I mean, I know that even as as an elite athlete myself, trying to get to the top, trying to get there, it was always targets and, trying to make, progress towards those targets. But then when you're the one that's standing at the top of the heap, it's like, now what do you do? Now everybody's, chasing you. Do you have the wherewithal and the mental capacity to be able to kind of challenge yourself without any outside interference or outside factors pushing you and driving you? So But I mean, they've done a great job to this point. But like I said, when I was running, I've never heard anybody when you ask them, "Oh, how's training going?" That, "Oh man, this is crappy. It's just terrible. I'm not about to get it done this year." When we were on the elite level, I never heard anybody say that. So it's the same thing. You ask them, like, "Coach, now, oh, how's your kids doing with training?" "Oh man, they're looking great, doing well." But we always see when January rolls around and the meet start up. So I think they're doing well, but we'll see when when the meet start.
Well, I'm looking at your background. It says be the standard.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to you and mean for the program?
Yeah, so our media affirmation and media department were asking for like hashtags and stuff back when I first came. So I mean, I didn't know anything about, so I just asked the team captains, like, to give me what they wanted the hashtag to be. And one of the upperclassmen that, she ended up doing, well, but unfortunately, COVID kind of interrupted the ending part of her career. But they came up and it was like, be the standard. And I was like, oh man, I really like that. I really like that when I first got there, because it's just one of those things that I was saying often, not really be the standard, but it's just like talking about standards and all those sort of things. So they came up with that, and it was like, wow, that definitely hits, because I mean, it means everything. Be the standard. What when we were, kind of at the bottom or whatever, be the standard. You still, yeah, you may not be there. You may not have, say, talent, whatever may not be there, but you still have to operate, like what the standard is. You have to operate every single day like you are at that level. I always, people say the line like, you got to fake it till you make it kind of thing. It's like, well, you kind of do sometimes, especially in this sport. If you have to come in every single day like you are, the best, every time you toe the line, you have to believe you're the best. I used to be sitting there. I used to stand on starting lines and just be like telling myself, I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. Just you got to convince, you have to convince yourself of that before you even become that. And so, the standard is, make sure we're on time for everything, even simple things like compliance department needs these paperworks, or making sure everybody got their FAFSAs turned in. I love when they're like, oh man, track, you guys always have all your stuff in, the fastest, and everybody's always got it turned in. These other sports, I'm still running around trying to get them to get their kids to do. It's like, yeah, that's that sort of stuff away from the track starts like bleeding into kind of on the track. You wouldn't even believe when we first got here, the amount of cats that would just miss practice, or just come late, doing all those sort of things. Now you fast forward to now, nobody's ever missing, nobody's ever late, because there's consequences for everything. So like I said, what the standard is. You got to uphold it. Doesn't matter who you are. And that's, yeah, because I mean, conference championship before the pandemic, I had suspended my best athlete from the championship because she decided she was going to miss practice. The indoor conference championship in 2020. And and then unfortunately, COVID came, and then that was it. Never ran another race. Mm. And it's just because you're supposed to be the standard. You're the one that everybody's looking for. You're the one that's been to, the NCAA championships, first round, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, things like that. You're supposed to be the standard. So, if people see you doing things that don't kind of align with what I believe in, then they might believe that they can do it too.
Right.
So I don't believe that you can't do it. And so, I treat everybody, fairly, but not equally. But in that situation, it was like, you're done for the championship. And it was just like, oh my God, everybody's like, oh shoot, oh man, hold on, I better be on my. It's like, yeah, because unfortunately, I don't care who you are. When I was in school here, I missed practices, like 2 practices in October, and got put off the team by my coach.
Wow.
So back in undergrad, I was winning. I won the conference championship freshman year, sophomore year. Well, this was my sophomore year, so I ended up, winning it every year and things like that. And so my coach, the only coaches I had ever in track and field was like kind of no nonsense, zero tolerance kind of guy. So that's those are the people that kind of molded me. So that's just kind of how my mentality is as well. But I like to have fun, hang out, do all those things, but it's got to be done a certain way. And if you're not going to be on board, you got to go, unfortunately.
Well, what do you think you took from Coach Merritt and Coach Johnson to bring there and bring to your student athletes there?
Oh, just once again, that they were big on the mentality part. Like, I think that's back when I first was running on the elite level with Brooks, and I run into a lot of people like, man, how do you deal with Brooks, man? He's just so tough, and I was like, man, to me, he just reminded me of a football coach. That's all, like, and that's what I grew up. That's what I did, was play football. I was at Howard and played a football a bit as well. I mean, that's just how it is at practice and everywhere. It wasn't until doing track stuff that I saw that the track people are just so soft, when it comes to what they think is like being mean or something like that. But it's just really, it's just, you got to be tough. Now it's different. You can't be, doing and stuff like the things that you could do like maybe in like 2000 or something. But it's still got to be tough. As a coach, you got to be tough. I think if all your athletes like you all the time, then you're not doing something right. And so I'm very straightforward. That's one thing that they were. If it's not right, it's just not right. And I think that's the biggest thing. But you also, teach them the right way to do it, which is what they did for me.
Okay. So what does the future look like for Howard University?
And hopefully, a lot more championships, and you got all those the big time championships in the back. We'll try to keep working to maybe get one of those. That's one of the coolest things with watching Ross and A&T. It's like they show what could be. If you get the right kind of kids that believe, and you get keep the right staff in place and have your administration on board what you're trying to do, that you can definitely stand up there and get one of those nice trophies come June at the outdoor meet. So we're just going to keep grinding and plugging away to try to score as many points as possible at the national meet and get as many kids there as we can. So it's just, that's the thing. We bring some kids the first time and don't make it out of the first round to the quarterfinals the next couple of days later at the regionals. Then you get people that make it to the quarterfinals, but then we don't get out of make it to the nationals. Then we get to the nationals, but we can't make it out of the first round or the semifinal round at the national finals. Then this time we actually go out there and we score points in the finals. So it's just like a building, you know what I'm saying? It's just a little bit at a time. That's the same thing that I tell kids and their parents in the recruiting process. It's like, I don't expect you as a freshman to come in here and be going to nationals and doing all this stuff. If you did, that's great, but that's not what the expectations is. I believe it's like you just got to build up towards that. Let's be a conference level kid first. Then let's try to get your name on the list and go to, the first round, and then, get that experience. Then maybe the next time you can go and maybe make it to the finals. But at least by the time you're a senior, let's go out here and let's be challenging to score points at the national meet. That's just kind of how it works. Just build towards that. Like I said, you're not going to get we're probably not getting high school kids that's going to come here right now that's running like 11, 2 or 3 or something, so you're going to take the 11 9s and 8s, and we're going to build them and, try to get down there and make it to the 11 2 or 3 range, and then just, try to build from there. So, but I think we do a really good job, like I said, developing the kids. And I think that's what we're going to continue to do as well. And, just make sure we keep representing the university and, keep making everybody proud. It's great. My emails from all the old alums that, reach out and, are just like, oh man, I'm just, so happy with the state of the program. That's the big thing, is having that, the alums, because, I felt like it's been a bit of disconnect with some of our our kind of legendary alumni over the years. And that's one of the biggest thing I want to do is make sure I mend all that and make sure that they're always looped in on what we do in the program. So they support us big time. And I think that goes back to what I was saying about building that infrastructure and making sure things are in place. That our alumni, boom, they're back engaged. They're giving to the program. They're coming to the meets and really rooting us on, having meet and greets with the kids. Getting internships for them. So it's like it's just a whole thing. Like we want to keep that going and definitely raise this thing to heights that we haven't been at in quite a while. I'm not even sure offhand what our highest place finish was at the national meet, but we want to work to maybe improving on that position.
Well, I know Coach Mutri is in the USTFCCCA Hall of Fame, and it looks like you're well in position to be there yourself. You have done a tremendous job of building the making of champions within the program at Howard University. You have a lot of will, go, and the establishments you put within the program itself of, again, being the standard, relying on responsibility, understanding it's a process. And most people just don't work. They want to get to the end part without going through the journey and the process of that. And a lot of these coaches out here now don't want to enjoy the journey, but there is a journey, and you can take a lot from that journey. And I've seen what you've done over the years, taking some hits here and there, but then only some for those who I said this on one of the show before. Prime time people step up in prime time situations, and you are one of those people who have shown that and lived that life.
The beauty's in the journey, man. Like, yeah, like even as a runner, man, I just take everything back to how I approached it when I was a runner. Those days in training where you're sitting there and maybe the previous year didn't go well. And that's all I thought about all fall long, every single day. And I was like, this will not, because I remember, like 08 had a great year, went to the Olympics, got bronze, won the trials, did all these cool things, run 12 seconds for the first time. Then 2009 rolls around. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a great year. I'm gonna win the world championships, all this stuff. Then you get hurt and then you're out all these months. So you're sitting there watching everybody run. Most devastated when I, called my mom and told her I couldn't run at the U.S. champs that year. And so you're defending national champion. You can't even, make it to the meet. And, so then here comes the fall of 2009 to get ready for the 2010 season. And that's all I thought about every day was, man, I didn't get an opportunity. I got to take it. I got to do it. I got to go harder. That's what I think. You just got to go harder because that, like I said, it's not your birthright to do this, and you see how quick it can be gone. Like an injury away. It's like, okay, not saying I was ever, BS'd around or something like that, but it's just like I got to do even more. And every time I see the guys at the meets or something, it's like, no, I gotta beat these guys. I gotta win. So it's the same thing as a coach. Like, man, I went out here and got last place. I don't think I ever got last place, and stuff before. It's like, wow, I gotta go harder, man. We have to figure this out because I can't come out here and be getting last again. And it's just the same mentality.
The true competitor.
I think that's what it is. And that's back, like Ross said, he was like, man, look, we come from the same exact background. That's why you're going to be successful. At the fight that championship first, I was like, yeah, you're we come from the same thing. All we know is high level track and field. That's what we expect. And so you'll be there you'll be there in no time. The PG complex is, after they over there hoisting the trophies, having a grand old time, and sitting there watching them. That's what he says. He's like, you'll be there in no time. And it's like, yeah, that's just sometimes that motivation that you get from other people. That really helps you and moves you forward because none of us, kind of get where we are on our own. It always takes motivation or standing on somebody else's shoulders to kind of push you to greatness as well.
I'm gonna ask you two questions here. what do you think you want to deliver a message for coaches out there who's striving to get to championship level, whether it's conference nationals? Give something, some word of advice for what you feel, something that you want to add into them, and then looking at with Howard University, how do you propel the program moving forward?
Yeah, so I mean, with the advice is really just simple. You know, if you, I think if you want to be a champion, you got to kind of follow and find out what champions do, and that not even just you know, track and field wise or coaching wise, or that's anything. You know, when I was running, I used to, if it was tennis with Roger Federer, Serena, any of those, I was all in, watching everything that had to do with them, just because, you know, I want to be a champion. They were champions. I need to see what they do, see how they act, you know, all those things. So you want to be a champion coach, you know, you be there. All the coaches' phone lines seem to be open. You know, I don't really talk to coaches too much. I just talk to my friends, like, you know, my homies as coaches. Those, you know, so I wouldn't really say I have mentors myself when it comes um, to like coaching, but I still follow whatever people that were winning. I just follow whatever they did. If they were on a podcast talking, I was listening. If they're, you know, I just listen and absorb whatever it is they're saying, and things that could help me. So it's a whole bunch of folks that, you know, help indirectly, that, you know, that they don't really know. But that's, I think that's what you do. You want to be a champion, you just listen, you know, be in the ear of people that are champions, and and I think that's the key, for us as far as the program and how we're going to continue to kind of move it forward. Is I feel like what got you there will keep you there. So we just still follow the same mindset, the same, you know, when it comes to talent evaluation, like all that, just keep it the same. You don't have to do anything new. One thing that folks do when they win is they get complacent. But see, you got to be insatiable when it comes to winning. And it's like, you know, one's just not enough. You got to just keep on and keep on. But I mean, it's probably honestly a point where it does possibly, you got to like try to get a new challenge or something. I don't know if you won your conference meet what 10 times in a row or something. Maybe that gets a little boring. So then you got to find a new challenge, but it's always a bunch of challenges out there. But I just want to win. That's it. So we're just going to continue to do what we do, and hopefully the fruits of the labor will show up when it in February and in May.
Well, you heard it here first. You see, be the standard. He is the standard at Howard University. He's always been a standard, upstanding young man, doing things the right way. Um, Coach David Oliver, Howard University, the Making of Champions, season 4. I want to thank you for being a part of the show. I think you brought a lot of light to how it is to make the champions, what took to build Howard University to where it is now, and then where seeing the pathway of where you're going to go and take it in the future. I applaud you for all that you've done. Again, I watch you, and I watch your mentality, and also how you carry yourself, and that was important to me, to watch how people carry themselves, and then you never were a person that showed any ill will towards anybody, but you were one of those people who observe, take in information, and apply it. So I want to thank you for being a part of the show. And I want to challenge everybody to be like David Oliver, learning. You may not want to take all of the lumps at the time, but again, he didn't take long before he got it rolling for himself. And now he's got indoor and outdoor conference champions, scores at the national championships, and constantly bringing in new talent that's going to go out there and represent Howard University at a high level. So I want everyone out there to go out there, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and get in contact with Coach Oliver. He is a person who doesn't mind talking, but sometimes you might have to go to him now, because he's not going to go out there and seek you out.
Yeah. Nah. Too
Any
busy,
last
man.
words
You
you
too
want to
busy.
say?
Well, hey, I appreciate you having me on. It's good to see you, and you see you out there. I mean, come shit, your story is is one of like, it's a hell of a story. I look at people like yourself or like Langford that's at Oklahoma. It's like, wow, people I saw in the MEAC, and the next thing you know is over here, at these big time schools doing, outstanding things. So definitely appreciate you guys and that, people before you that paved the way for folks like myself to come up in here and be able to do some extraordinary things for my university.
Well, thank you. I just try to pay it forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's you got it can't be about you when you're doing this. The moment you start trying to make this about you and your wants and what you need and things like that, this probably isn't the industry for you to be involved in. It's got to be about the kids. And I think that's what makes it fun for me is, I was able to accomplish a lot of things as an elite athlete. And so now watching these other young adults accomplish some of their goals, it's just like, man, this really feels good that you could be a part of that. So I think the higher you get up, the more altruistic your views and things like that become. And I feel like, that's the level that I'm in when it comes to the sport of track and field. So it feels good.
Yeah. That's why we have this platform, is to highlight people and also to educate others at the same time.
Perfect, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right.